Hello, everybody. All right.
Hello.
All right. So now we got that out of the way. Oh, we got some people. So it looks like we have some people already here. All right. Well, before we get started, of course, Rick, you want to introduce yourself real quick? Share any
Uh,
links or anything like that. Go for
well, most everybody knows I am Rick Piper of Cross Comics. I do my own. I have my own little comic company that I'm slowly getting together. Um, Produced 3 books so far. I'm working on my fourth, and yeah, I guess I'll go. I'll put a link to my channel. So
All right.
just give me a sec for that. I'll put a link to a video on my channel.
All right.
So
Um, Well, anyways, as we, of course, as he's doing that, just to remind everybody. So tonight, and we'll probably, I guess I'll wait a few minutes to give people a chance to come in. But so tonight is our weekly look back at comic history, where our coverage will now into January 1940, and there's Rick's.
yeah, it's a link to the Canadian Shield theme that I got with a little video to it and all that. Some, you know,
So y'all want to check that out.
yeah.
Um, so so as I was saying, tonight we're going to be looking at comics went on sale in January 1940 from what we know of today as Archie Comics, known back then as MLJ. But we of course taken our first look at Zip Comics Volume 1, Issue 1. Also, we'll be reading a story out of Pep Comics Volume 1, Issue 2, and Top Notch Comics Volume 1, Issue 3. But we'll be spending the majority of the time in Zip Comics number 1. And before, of
Uh,
course, and we
and
go ahead.
all those were produced or done by MLJ.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, the books were done by MLJ Enterprises.
Okay.
But with that, let me go ahead and get that link up. And of course,
Zippity doo da, zippity me, oh my, what a beautiful day. Yeah. Actually, that probably what they should have used that to put a Flash type character in, a speedster. Zip, the
yeah.
Zip.
Well, I
He's
do
there.
know they said there was a Marvel character called the Wizard that he was
Yeah,
on. Um, he floats
he's
through
there
the
in a
air with
Zip.
the greatest of ease. Steel Sterling singing as he battles the Black Knight. Well, yeah, well, because that is part of a song. It's part of a song. I think it's called the Man on the Flying Trapeze is where that's from, which was a classic back in this day. But anyways, let's go through some of these characters before we go and start the readings. Um, First off, Steel Sterling here. Um, so, um, yeah. So, anyways, so powers and abilities of Steel Sterling here. Invulnerability, superhuman strength, abilities, investigation, equipment, anti gravity belt, transportation, the Sterling scooter. Here's some
Scooter.
here's some trivia. Um, Steel Sterling was the original Man of Steel. Superman, who would debut 2 years earlier, was known as the Man of Tomorrow. That was his first moniker. Later, he would swipe the Man of Steel moniker. Because he has the body qualities of steel, he can create magnetic field and intercept wireless messages by rubbing his tongue against his teeth. Um, well, I actually saw in a Super Friends cartoon, Batman did something similar. He would grind his teeth together like this, and and be able to transmit, yeah, I guess a radio receiver in his teeth or something like that. Let's see. Unfortunately, when he battled the evil mastermind Magnetic Menace, his foe stole the belt and zoomed out of control into outer space. Thus, Steel gained his enemy's Magno scooter, renaming it the Sterling scooter. They exchange transports there. Um, Friends of Steel Sterling, Dora Cummings, his girlfriend, who he confessed dual identity to, Louis, Alec Ben Lunar, a friend who sees all and knows nothing. Officer Clancy, a clumsy policeman who assisted in several of his cases, and Inferno, a criminal he helped reform. And of course, Sterling, his real name being John Sterling, would had 63 appearances here. So
Hmm.
there we go with that. I said I'll do more of the like. The only reason I didn't read the history there is because that obviously we'll be reading that as part of the story, obviously.
Yeah.
So, and then here's Black Knight. Is now again there have been a number of Black Knights in any
Comic
of
books.
yeah. So I mean, even this guy had like 5 appearances. So pretty generic character. Well, we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
Read the
Taken. Usually the name is taken from the medieval era, of knights, the Black Knight, and then
yeah. So
of course everybody does their own little take on it.
Nevada Jones. Nevada Jones, Earth MLJ as they call it here, who had 26 appearances. No superpowers. I guess they don't have much on him on here. From what I saw,
Him, or is it a him or is it a her?
a him. It is a he. A male. He's um, Irene Cox. He's a Western hero, basically. So,
Let me guess. He's based in Nevada.
I'm not sure, but we'll probably find out soon enough there. Okay. And then Captain Valor here.
Oh, Metal might be interested in this character because he has does he have a Valor, or he has something similar to Valor, and of course DC's had a Valor in their thing, which
Yeah,
is
well, I mean, Valor's another one that Captain Valor in particular has been used quite a bit too, from what I've seen over
yeah.
the
Well,
years.
the name Valor, I guess, again, Valor, the word in itself would be public domain because it has a real life meaning, other than a
Yeah,
superhero. It was there around before superheroes came into existence.
yeah. Strength level. Captain Valor has the strength of a man who engages in intensive, regular exercises.
Yeah, and of course, Valor was the name of what's his name, the Daxamite, Mon-El. It was his superhero name in DC.
And then
Mm,
Zambini, the Miracle Man. So here's another magician here.
Zachary Zambini.
Uh-huh.
ZZ.
Yeah. Powers Magic. He had 28 appearances. Um,
Not a lot on these characters, unfortunately, but
well,
unfortunately, that's
but this is probably one of the again these characters the Archie superhero line obviously didn't last beyond the 40s, I'd say.
It's lasted because they even have produced some in recent days, some of their stuff, but they obviously did not become as popular as DC or Marvel.
Okay.
Oh,
Matadati, an enemy of Zambini, the magician.
yeah. And even a bunch of Marvels, if you will, from that time have not become really all that popular. Think about the major two is Captain America and Namor. But of course, there is the Human
Well,
Torch. But
we had a few that not a lot of people probably heard of that we were looking at last week.
yeah,
Flexo the Rubber Man, Blue Blaze.
yeah. And then
And then,
there is a Human Torch from that time, but it's not the same one that
yeah,
most
it's an
people
android.
know.
It's an android. All right. So, anyways, so now with all that out of the way, why don't we go ahead and get ready to go do some reading of some comics.
Cool.
Get into this. What's going on in the background there, Rick?
Oh,
Is your kid having a party or something like that?
my cousin is watching, I believe, YouTube in the other room.
Ah,
I didn't think you guys would be able to hear it.
well, I can hear it, but I can deal with it. So, Zip Comics, 64 pages of exciting features. Number 1, starring Steel Sterling, Man of Steel. February 10 cents, action thriller, Calthar, King of the Jungle Man, King of the Jungle, the Miracle Man, the Zambini.
Lots of ads.
Steel Sterling, the Man of Steel. When John Sterling's father was racketeered out of all his great wealth and cruelly murdered by a mob of cutthroat gangsters, young John swore to wreak vengeance on the underworld. He knew one man alone could not fight the law's battle against gangdom unless this one man were forever protected against the underworld's bullets. He spent his youth in chemical experiments, so that when his time to fight was at hand, he might be invulnerable to his enemy's weapons. His time for revenge is close at hand.
Dun, 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 dun.
Sterling is completing an experiment on a formula which will completely protect him from the same fate his father suffered. So apparently I guess he's quite a student here, huh? Got some
Yeah,
Batman in terms of studies probably a number of different fields, chemistry being one of them, obviously. John
yeah.
Sterling is the formula and covers himself with the chemical. Yeah, that's always looked at as a good thing, right? Using yourself as a pig.
Yeah. Hopefully, he did some things. We have the steel guinea pig. The
Yeah.
steel guinea pig. Yes, it's his mascot. It's his his
It,
sidekick. The steel
yeah.
guinea pig.
Into this tank of molten steel you go. For the final test, Sterling lowers case hardened steel tongs um, into the fiery molten metal. Seconds later, only the stumps remain. Above the molten metal, he poises for the plunge. And now for the realization of his greatest ambition or death. This guy's definitely risking his life here, isn't he? Hey,
Yeah.
Rick?
Yeah. Trying to really make sure he gets coated in this stuff.
With a crashing, rippling roar, Sterling slices into the pool of molten death. Will John Sterling rise from this seething cauldron, or did his body disintegrate as did the steel tongs?
That is very reminiscent of Stan Lee type of writing. But of course he had to survive. Otherwise, the comic would be done for
Yeah,
now.
the story would end, right? um, he has survived, and Steel Sterling is born. A man with the resistance, the magnetism, and the strength of steel. At least safe against all forms. At least safe against all forms of destruction. I'm ready to crush out crime. Oh, of course. Steele learns about a bank robbery in Beeville, 100 miles away. The crime is executed with bold disregard for human lives. Running his fingers through his hair, he brings into action the magnetic powers of his steel body. Kind of like static electricity, right?
Yeah, I guess.
and attracts himself to the electric wires, and with speed of electricity, he sets out for Beeville.
I'm not sure whether that's how it would work in reality, but
Well, we do know one thing. Even if they didn't have an understanding of science, they sure did have quite the imaginations, didn't they? These writers.
yeah.
He overtakes the fleeing robbers.
Okay. How does he even know what the car? Who this is their car? He wasn't even there for the robbery. And yeah, I'm sure there was probably a description or whatever possibly said. But in those days,
Well,
a
yeah, there's
lot of
always a possibility. There's a description they placed over they put over the radio that just happened off panel there.
yeah. But I was gonna say back in those days, so many cars would have looked alike. It would have been worse than today, putting a description out of the car.
Oh yeah, but anyways, Rick, we know that these leaps in logic are common in this.
Yeah, I know, but we got to point them out, right?
Right.
Or at least I do.
With a lunge of his shoulder, Steele overturns the speeding car. Here's where my body of steel comes in handy.
Did you read the one above it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's it was part of the other panel. Okay, sorry, my bad. It was just
I
breaking
saw
into
that.
the one panel, and I didn't realize it was from the other panel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Steele searches the gangsters for the loot. Suddenly, a plane appears. I wonder what he's up to. An evil face stares down at them. While Sterling watches the plane, a hoodlum scrambles from the wreckage and tears toward the dangling rope ladder. Stop! Halt! The crook grabs the rope ladder and is whipped into the air.
A clean get.
That was. Oh, okay. Go for it. I thought it was still him, but I thought it was still the hero. Go for
It's the crook. A clean getaway.
Okay. As the plane spits fire steel protects the wounded man from his own henchman's bullets. Who is behind all this?
The Black Knight will have rule the world castle in mountains.
The pilot sweeps his guns from his own men to the arriving police. Get under cover. The plane speeds away and Steele calls for aid. Rush doctors, ambulance. Rush doctors, ambulances. Steele Sterling magnetizes himself to the plane. Thus, the crooks unwittingly help Steele to find their hideout.
Something seems to be holding us back. Want me to do the bad guy, Black Knight too there? Or did I do the Black Knight?
Well, I was going to have you do both those because I think the guy in the hat there was the guy who ran up the ladder.
Oh, okay. Must be strong headwinds.
The mountain fortress of the Black Knight is completely surrounded by highly volted barbed wire entanglements. Steel overcomes the first barrier to the heavily guarded castle. It's a good thing I'm shockproof now. The Black Knight's other guards greet Steel with an avalanche of arrows. They use these to avoid the sound of gunfire. But the arrows fall harmlessly from him. Playing rough, huh? Just wait. Open up or I'll break down the door. With one mighty blow, Steel Sterling shatters the door. A hail of deadly lead greets him. You like how they phrase some of this stuff? A hail of deadly lead greets him.
Yeah.
Some of the writing here is actually pretty good. Pretty descriptive.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is like I said, although it's before Stan Lee, this is really, it seems very reminiscent of Stan Lee. This is possibly where he got some of his ideas for writing because he would have been reading these books, in his youth.
Well, yeah, I think they said he became a editor at age 16. Let me just
Well, not an editor, but he was a copy boy or something to that effect.
Yeah. Something to just check here real quick.
But he was in the industry early, from an earlier age.
Well, a lot of people were because, of course, everybody was having to go out and get work.
Yeah, and well, it was also a very fledgling job. It was a new market, so it was a little easier to get. It was harder, but it was easier to get into for certain parts of it, anyways.
I'm just saying things because I realized that they didn't list. I'm just going here real quick. Here, let me just check them. So the writer of the story was Abner Sundell. with art by Charles Bureau
Yeah,
for this story. So
yeah,
I know
yeah.
Charles
Well,
Bureau. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I didn't think Stan wrote it, but I'm just saying the styling is similar to his.
And
That
you
he
feel
would
that he
go,
may have been influenced by it, is basically what you're saying.
yeah, when he starts to go on to write Spider Man and Iron Man and the Fantastic Four, it has a similar style to this,
Right,
and I think he could have been very easily influenced by
right.
something like this
But
one, or
but as the bullets bounce harmlessly from the metal body, from his metal body, he wades in with steel fist flailing. Yeah, imagine getting hit with a fist sized piece of steel, right? That I think would hurt, wouldn't you say, Rick?
yeah.
A little dose of the same, boys. Uh, you using the gun to frighten rather than to kill. He forces the thugs to lead him to his master.
Yeah, like they wouldn't be frightened of him, just the bullets bouncing off them, and him punching everybody out with like one or two punches.
Mm-hmm.
I would be running probably to begin with if I was in their shoes.
You want to do the thugs right there
Help! It's not human. See, you know,
at the door of the Black Knight's chamber. Out of my way! Will Steel Sterling be a match for this Death Master of the underworld? I want that bank money. It belongs to hundreds of poor people. I'll let you do the Black Knight there.
Stop right there, freak. You can't bluff me like you did those yellow rats.
How do you like this desk to be your head? Look at that. Smash the desk. Return that stolen money. But the Black Knight has one trick left. His foot finds a hidden button. A trap door drops beneath Steel Sterling's feet, and down he tumbles into a slimy walled 100-foot drop.
pit. It's 100-foot pit. But
Oh,
That takes care of you. If the fall doesn't kill him, the rats will. And I still have the bank money to finance my plan to rule the world.
oh, here we go again. Another megalomaniac, right? A lot of megalomaniacal villains back in this time period.
yeah, well, there still is, but
there, there's the rats, and then this is rats large as rabbits, swarm over Steel. But even their knife-like teeth are no match for his body of metal. I wonder how thick this wall is. And look at that, he's going up against the wall as look where that rat's biting him.
yeah, on the back of the leg.
Yeah, back of the leg. Any higher, and it'd be his buttock.
His ass.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, hello, Jr.
JR's here, huh?
Yeah, Jr. has a new name. He's now calling himself the Elk of Antioch.
Oh, the Elk of Antioch. Okay. Hail Xenu and Xena. Hey, Elk of Antioch. JR.
And what gives him away, of course, is Hail, Xenu, and Xena.
Yeah. Seeking a way out, Steel Sterling whams his fist. And yes, that is the word wham, not ram, but whams his fist against the rock walls. But the walls are solid for 100 feet, though. Um,
Listen to him pounding away. It will do him no good.
Jared says he's going to rule the world with one bank heist. Must be an option trader. No, he's just going to invest really good. Buy the right thing. Depends on how big the bank robbery is, right? Too the bank heist.
or having enough money to buy an army to take over, or at least that's probably what he's thinking.
Who knows?
With his uncrushable fist, Steel bangs foot and hand, holds into the sides of the dungeon and climbs out. So you understand what he's doing there? He's making like
Yeah,
basically like
yeah.
if you I don't know if you've ever seen these or you've ever been to like one of those like you ever been to one of those places that will have those rock walls that you can climb?
Yeah. He's almost doing what Wolverine's doing, making little holes that he can grab onto or hold or put his foot in. But Wolverine just does it with his claws and holds himself up.
Right. Why didn't I think of this before? I hope I didn't lose too much time. Well, look who's here.
Oh my. Oh, my leg is broken.
Were you going someplace? Yeah, having a big piece of steel crash into your leg probably would do that kind of damage to it, right?
Yeah. Although you would think he would be saying his leg is broken after Steel Sterling's done it. And like I think that my leg is broken should be more in this next panel where he's holding him up.
Right. Swiftly, Steel grabs the squealing Black Knight, lifts him up, and gives him an airplane spin.
Butch, Dutchy, Spike, here. Help.
Help. But it's help! And bounces him against the wall. He floats through the air with the greatest of ease.
Yeah, but I must say it's an interesting look for a guy called the Black Knight. I know the brown is probably supposed to be black. It's
And
about
then why
the
is there
light.
yellow mixed in there? Is that where you were thinking?
Yeah, well, yeah. Then there's the yellow, but the thing is, even if it's not supposed to be black, even if it is supposed to be brown, it is weird. Then calling himself the Black Knight. Just even in the character design here, he looks nothing like a knight would look. So it's interesting that he's calling himself the Black Knight. Just to be.
I don't know. I think that could pass for some form of armor.
Yeah, but I'm more talking the head. The head thing. It looks
the helmet.
Well, it's not even a helmet. I'd call it. It's just a mask. Like it's almost a pullover. Looks like a pullover mask to me. I'm just I just
Well,
thought
maybe they
I'd come.
intended it. Maybe they intended it to be some type of helmet, though.
Yeah,
No.
it could not be fabric mask. It could be made out of something else. But just with the a look at it like this, I wouldn't say he looks anywhere knight-ish at all. But that's my opinion. Just and I don't know why I waited till now to say something, but about that look. Although we've only been reading him for 2 or 3 pages now, so.
Dazed and dizzy, the Black Knight stumbles backwards, falls into his own trap. You got some piece of dialogue there. No. Yow! That's
Yeah. And Elk of Antioch says he looks nothing like a knight.
I don't know. I think he does. I think he does, but just
It's
because
everybody.
it doesn't look like a full on like full metal piece of armor, I think there are elements there that do make it look kind of like a knight's armor, even if it even if it doesn't seem that way. But
Yeah, well, you have a right to that opinion,
yeah.
obviously.
How do you like it down there? With the Black Knight out of the way for the while, Theo searches the castle, but it is deserted.
Well, I'd say 2 things to that thing with it, the guy down there, as if he survived the drop, which he probably did. That guy's probably got some way out of there to begin with, because you wouldn't. I don't think you would make a pit like that without being able to get.
Without knowing, at least have some kind of escape plan in the event that he should fall in.
Yeah. Well, and also you'd want to be able to get up and down to the bottom somehow. And then there is the fact that Steel Sterling just made an escape route out, no matter what, with the holes that he put in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, continuing on here. There goes the money. The Black Knight probably intended to follow later. Steel Sterling takes a long flying leap. Right, and here's some more of the thugs here, Rick. Go for it.
In another minute, that guy in the pit will be blown to bits. Watch back there. Therefore, watch back there for the explosion. The Black Knight has nitro planted all through the joint.
Nitro is in, I believe, nitroglycerin, or a highly explosive element there.
This'll be the end of that steel-fisted freak.
That's what you think.
It's about time that explosion went off.
Back in the pit in the castle.
Oh, I don't want this. Is that this?
No, I don't want to die.
Oh, I don't want to die.
It looked like the rats are now feeding on the Black Knight there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and there's another thing. If he's gonna have a pit, he's gonna have to have some way to feed the rats without killing them.
There goes the Black Knight. Sterling slides back to the bumper of the car. Just as the sedan approaches a state police station, Steele grabs a spoke of a wheel and stops the car. Wow! So with this steel hand, he's got a steel grip to where he can just grab the spoke of a car and just stop it dead in its tracks. The
Yeah.
big car skids into a ditch. The bank bandits are in that car with all the money. Steele Sterling borrows one of the police motorcycles. Not realizing Steele is on the side of the law, is on the side of law and order, the police open fire.
Shoot, you can't.
Um,
Go ahead. Unless you want me to do it.
no, that's okay. I didn't know you wanted to do the cop there, but good, good shooting, pals. Even if you don't think so yourselves. I swear I hit him. Well, fella must have 9 lives. Another action-packed Steel Sterling adventure in the next issue of Zip Comics. So, Rick, how did you like that story?
It was definitely interesting. Of course, there's our normal leaps in logic stuff in the story.
Yeah, I think those leaps in logic are what made these stories really click for people back then. Because and remember, I don't think back in 1939, 1940 here, I don't really think people were like sitting there nitpicking this stuff.
Oh yeah, true.
Like we're looking back on it from 75, 80 years in the future, or 85 years in the future, and
but
we're back and we go, oh, this is kind of ridiculous because this, why anybody would even think this was possible, but in a way, it could be.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I have, in some ways, I have a problem with it, but I don't have a problem with it. Like I watch a YouTube channel called Cinema Sins, and they go through modern movies and do this sort of thing, point out the flaws in logic and stuff like that. The things that just don't quite add up. So I don't mind it. I'm not doing it to poo-poo on it. Really, it's just an observation. Usually on my part.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're gonna do this, like you said, we should be honest. Yeah, this is a little far fetched or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Blah blah blah. It's just because it is what it is, and I do the same thing, and we do the same thing with modern comics too. You know, it's just a different sort of thing that we usually nitpick on because they've got different flaws in logic.
But anyways, let's get ready for our next story, Nevada Jones.
Okay.
This was the longest story of the night at 12 pages. So
yeah,
let's see, Nevada Jones will be 6 pages. Then Captain Val will be 8. Zambini will be 8. Queen of Diamonds and Pep Comics Volume 1 Issue 2 will be 6. And then West Pointer and Top Notch Comics Volume 1 Issue 3 will be 5. So
yeah, and it depends on how much. There was a little bit of reading in this, but most of it was just all
narration.
So it just meant you could keep going along.
Well, plus, I didn't have to strain my voice too much either because it was more narration. And really, for the most part, up until almost the very end, all I was doing was narration and the main character. I kind of used to the bad guys, and
and even with doing the main guy, he didn't have a lot of dialogue either.
Oh, there we go. Nevada Jones, Cattle detective.
Cattle detective.
Cattle detective. Dusty and Trail Weird. Nevada Jones, ace operative of the Cattlemen's Association, approaches the ranch of Irene Cox to help save a rustling problem. Irene Cox, owner of the Flying M Ranch, greets Nevada. The Cattlemen's Association sent me. Maybe you can prevent my herd from being stolen. The cattle are being rustled from the South Range. I'll look around and see what I can find. And down they plunge into the 20-foot arroyo. Gosh, he slipped.
You think? Surprised you're alive.
Broke his leg. I hate to do this, but Pony. But I hate to do this, Pony. But oh, look at that! Look at what they're showing here in 1940.
Yeah, well, that's something that they would probably show because that was in a lot of movies too, and something like that. Putting down a horse
The
like
idea
that.
of putting an animal out of its misery. Of course, Old Yeller had the very classic scene of when the young man and the young man had
the only thing is the horse gets injured, but he doesn't. He's able to stand after that.
Probably because as he was falling, he was probably able to leap from the horse and land in a way that
Yeah, but a 20-foot fall. He's going to be injured and bruised and beaten a little, unless he's like got some superpowers. And I don't know.
I guess it depends upon what happened when he decided to jump from the horse too. He may have because it looks like there he's still on the horse, but yet when we get to that next panel, he's off the horse. It's like so. My guess is, even though this probably happened off panel, sometime mid fall, he jumped from the horse and landed in a way to where the impact was minimized. Impact and damage was minimized.
Well, I'm not so much sure whether it's he jumped from the horse or he fell from the horse.
Well, because it looked right there, he looked like he's standing. So I mean, he would have had to jump from the horse because it's like.
Well, what I mean,
if he went too long, he would have been caught underneath the horse.
Yeah, that's exactly that's sort of my point. But you see in the first panel there, he's still on the horse, so he could have got thrown from the horse.
Again, what could have happened off panel, as it were, he could have at some point between the panel on the left and panel on the right jumped from the horse, like just from off the horse in a way to it's like he probably would have done something. He probably would have done something kind of he would have probably done something like this. Like I'm going to show you, but probably what likely happened. Something like that.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, Mike. But I'm saying it's also just as likely.
It just didn't show it on panel. That's
Yes, I get that. I get that. But also,
and that's not quite as much a leap in logic there because that could happen. I mean, I've been in situations like that before where I've been off balance and had to jump to. I mean, look,
but even jump.
You remember? Have you ever seen the Karate Kid movies?
Yes, I have a few
times. Did you see the one that starred Hilary Swank?
The girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember how and they called it a tiger leap, where the idea was okay, she's about to get hit by a car, but she jumps up to where she lands, ends up being landing on the
Yeah.
car the car roof.
Yeah.
People can't do that. That's not as
Yeah.
much of logic there.
Yes, I get that, as I said. But he's in the middle of the fall, which it's a lot harder to do that. That's why I'm saying it's probably more likely that in the middle of the fall, he's fallen off the horse away from.
Not
He's gotten
not
sort of
not
throw.
not unless you do something like this. And I know this would seem a little harder too. Either see what I did right there?
Yes, but I think it's more likely that he's gotten thrown from the horse, not jumped. It seems a lot more
Yeah, well, that could be
plausible.
true. But if he's thrown from the horse, then he could have still, even being thrown from the horse, could have positioned himself in a way to where he landed safely. It's
Yeah,
possible.
it's possible. I'd say highly unlikely, but I guess possible.
But then we're talking about a hero here, so he probably does have. And if he's a cattleman, he's a cattle detective here. He's probably, have to think about it. These main characters probably are in a lot better shape than a lot of people. They're probably, like like what we read about Captain Valor, right?
Yeah.
He has a strength level of man who engages intensive physical
Oh yeah.
activity.
I don't doubt that.
He's probably somebody who's probably obviously he rides horses a lot. He probably does engage in rigorous physical activity to where he's probably stronger and quicker than maybe we think he is.
Oh yeah.
And he,
I don't doubt that he's stronger and probably a little quicker than you or me or the average guy nowadays. You know that I don't doubt it, but for me it's
still
still
doesn't seem likely. Like my explanation doesn't seem likely to you, is what you're saying.
yeah. Oh, and even if it's somehow that he was able to jump, uh, which like maybe I can give it somehow, some way. It still doesn't seem like he's going to come out of there so easy just to stand up and be able to shoot the horse. But let's not beat a dead horse too much here.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not saying he probably didn't come out of it totally unscathed, but the way they made him look there, I'm sure he might have sprained something or what have you. But
Yeah, they
again,
haven't made it
you
look
know,
like that. I guess is what my thing is, unless there's something in the next couple panels to say otherwise.
yeah. For several days, Nevada hatches the pass, or watches the pass. Hmm. I'll watch this South Pass. The rustlers have to come this way.
Well, I guess we know what he's eating for the next few days.
Yeah, likely. Um, the third night, he sees Mexican riders herding flying cattle towards the border.
Oh, geez, I wonder whether you'd be able to do that today. Mexican rustlers in a
But
comic.
it would obviously make sense here because particularly if they're on like the U.S. Mexican border, of course that it's possible.
Oh
It's
yeah,
possible.
it's possible. Don't get me wrong. It's just back, nowadays, just saying that
Yeah,
the
people
Mexican.
will think, oh, you're racist because you're saying that Mexicans are horse rustlers, but
Yeah.
and he opens fire on the rustlers. That's the last cow that that Mexican will steal. The Mexicans shoot back, but Nevada's aim has been too deadly. So,
Oh,
uh,
hit! Is that Nevada saying I'm hit, or is that one of the rustlers, do you think? Because
actually, I think it's Nevada because Nevada is on the higher, like. You look at this panel, and you go to the next panel there.
yeah,
The guy shooting up at the cliff, and Nevada was actually shooting down from the cliff,
yeah.
unhit. Not knowing Nevada is wounded, they desert the herd and flee to safety.
Oh, next time the gringo will not be so lucky.
Half unconscious, Nevada straps himself to the dead Mexican's horse and makes his way back to the ranch. Boys, here comes Nevada. He's hurt. How is he, doctor? You want to do the doctor here?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it'll be a week before he sets up, and a week more before he rises.
Right.
Rides.
Several days later, where are you raising them longhorns now? They're still in South Valley. You little idiot! Don't you know those Mexican rustlers will run them out of there? Irene and several of her men leave to move the herd. About noon the next day, I wonder why they haven't come back. When suddenly, you want to do the guy right there?
Rustlers. They got the boss and the boys hold up in the South Valley. They shot me. They shot me getting away.
Um, tell the rest of the boys quick. Wounded, Nevada races for South Valley. Those greasers will massacre the boys, and if Irene gets in their hands, fast riding brings him to the shallow gulch the cowboys are using for a trench. Where's Irene?
We were separate. We were separated when them greasers killed our horses.
Mean to say you ain't even tried to get to her? At the same moment, I think that's the doctor right there.
Here they come.
Nevada turns to search for Irene.
We can't leave. You can't leave us now that them greasers is charging us. We need your guns.
That's what you think. Splat! Dirty coyotes, leaving Irene in the hands of them greasers. Spotting the smoke of a campfire, he dismounts and advances on foot. Yeah, he's not too fond of the idea that they left her behind.
Yeah.
He peers over a ledge. This is their camp, all right, and they've got Irene, the yellow dog.
They trust the pretty gringo flower as well.
Here goes. I'll jump in like a ton of beef.
Madre Dios! El gringo!
You did that very well, Rick. You did that Mexican accent very well.
Thank you.
No, it's more like gracias.
Yes. Gracias, señor.
Uh, up with you, up with your dew claws, buzzard bait. But unseen to Nevada, a Mex creeps up behind him like a dead man. Nevada drops to the ground.
Take the pretty one to my adored
Adobe,
abode.
no, Adobe.
Abode.
It's it's pronounced Adobe.
Adobe.
Yeah.
Si,
Hey,
si.
hey, I don't. Meanwhile, the rest of the Mexicans have fared badly due to the reinforcements from the ranch. Well, you were the guys in the ranch.
Okay. Well, boys, I guess that finishes them.
Upon recovering, Nevada again trails the captured Irene. This time I won't make any mistakes. There they are. I'll give them a surprise party.
And not the good kind, eh?
Crash! Here's a lead lunch, greaser.
Oh!
One move, and I'll air condition the rest of you saddle bums.
Don't shoot!
T- uh, take a horse and turn the rest loose. Irene opens the corral gate there by cutting off pursuit. With their leader killed, I guess these rustlers won't bother the flying M again. Together they race back to the ranch. I don't know how I'll ever run the ranch without you. Brr, that's right kind of you, Miss Irene. But I gotta be getting along. Another smashing Nevada Jones episode in the next issue of Zip Comics. So obviously it's based somewhere. This is a western based somewhere in the Southwest.
Yeah,
Somewhere
which could be Nevada easy.
could be. It's obviously this isn't Nevada. It's probably more. It could be Arizona. It could be actually it could be anywhere between California and Texas. Really,
Si, senor.
actually Arizona wasn't even a state. Then I don't think so. How did you like that story, Rick? How did you like Nevada
Uh,
Jones?
it was actually pretty good, except for that one spot where we really had a bit of a discussion.
Well,
You
that
know,
was a
if
good
it,
discussion to be had, though, because I mean, I don't agree
yeah,
with you that it was quite the leap of logic that you thought it was, because
yeah.
I could see it happening that whether he was thrown from the horse or he somehow was able to launch himself off the horse as the horse was falling, it is possible he could have got off the horse and still landed safely. You know,
But see, my
they just
dad.
they just didn't show it. They just didn't show it.
Yeah,
I,
yeah, I get that. See, my dad fell 20 feet straight down. Yes, it was on the concrete. I'll admit that. But he did that, and yeah, it was a straight down thing. But he broke all the bones in both of his feet in landing. So I know somebody who's fallen that 20 or so.
But then let me ask you this, Rick. Um, Potentially, right? What we were talking about earlier with the if we're to look at Nevada Jones as being in prime condition, being
Yeah.
well fed, not having any major health issues, basically being somebody who is strong and has the strength and agility of a man in his prime.
Yeah.
Okay. How when that happened, when you were telling me that when your dad jumped off a curb, he broke all the
No,
bones
no,
in
no, no. He didn't jump off a curb. He was on a construction site, and some boards weren't exactly placed the way that they should have been, and he ended up falling straight down in between a couple of spots, down 20 feet. Now, and I'd say he was in fairly good health, although yes, he was quite a bit overweight. So maybe that would have been a factor in.
obviously there would have been more weight first off going on to the feet, but
Yeah.
and you're also going on the assumption that that first off that drop in the cliff was a 20-foot drop. It may have been, or
Well,
may have been
well,
less.
it,
It may have
it
been
said 20. It said 20 feet.
okay. So yeah, 20-foot drop, but it doesn't mean that at some point during the fall. I mean, now if he jumped, if he let's say was thrown or jumped off the horse as the horse began its fall, then yeah, I could see your point. But
Yeah.
since we didn't see what happened in between the panels there, they could have been he could
Yeah.
he may have decided to make the jump from, like, maybe he got off the horse or was able to throw him the horse maybe at the 5, 10, or 15 foot mark.
Yeah, but at that point,
Maybe he
yeah,
still but we don't know. That's the thing.
yeah,
We don't know
yeah.
when it
We don't know. Obviously, yes, you're right. But still, he would have had still some of that force, even like if he jumped from the horse at 15 feet down. Thus, he's only got 5 feet to go before he hits the ground. He's still got a bit of that force with him. Still, he's gonna come out with some bruises, some cuts. It's not going to be easy for him to stand up and walk.
well, it depends upon how he landed too. I mean,
Yeah,
because it could have been that he could have landed on his feet, much like I showed. I mean, unless I could
yeah,
see him being cut up and bruised up if, let's say, he fell on his body, like he fell like on his back or his body or something like that. If he fell like more flat, but
yeah,
if
which is more likely what would have happened.
from a position where it's like he may have jumped off the horse or been thrown from the horse in a way to where he was going down feet first. That may be why he wasn't all like cut up and all that, because he could have been launched in a way, or he could have jumped the horse in a way to where it's
Yeah,
possible he landed in a way to where that's what minimized the damage for him.
yeah, and that's even thinking if he was able to, depending on how the horse is falling down there. If the horse is rolling, for lack of a better way of saying it, down the hill,
Mm-hmm.
and it depends on the steepness of the hill. There is a lot to consider, I will admit.
Right.
But if
Since we didn't see that, we just we can speculate all we want, but I'm telling you that's what I think happened. He probably either got thrown or jumped the horse at a point to where he knew he could land safely. That's my theory.
yeah,
That's how they made it work there.
yeah. Unfortunately, we'll never know what was going on inside the writers.
Because the people who probably wrote the story are probably long dead, or
Yeah.
or if they are still alive, they're probably close to 100 or so.
Yeah, and then there's the fact that they probably wouldn't even remember anything about writing this story, way back then. So
Chances are, yeah. So, Anyway,
this was one of just probably 1,000 stories that they wrote.
But anyways, let's get ready to move on to.
Yeah, because we're 10 minutes after the hour, so we've been going an
Oh,
hour.
I already told you. I've already slated this
Yeah.
for like 3 hours. So,
Yeah.
but we still got through 2 of the features in the first just over an hour. So, and a lot of these features now, are we've already hit the longest of the features. So the next one will be.
I thought you said the next. Well, not well. The
Okay,
one after the first one. 2 of them were 8, which were the
Yeah.
second and third. So we got another 8,
Well,
and then they.
the third and fourth will be 8, and then so that was a 6 page right there. But it also of course will depend upon it will also depend upon how much time, because look, we look at how much time we took just debating how we got that horse off that horse safely.
Yeah.
So anyways, I am before we get into this, I'm going to need to step away from the computer for a moment. So I'll be
Okay, and
right
when you come back, I'm gonna step away for a second too to grab a sip of something.
All right, so I'll be right back. If you want to talk to the chat for a moment while I'm gone, I'll be right back.
So, is anybody still out there watching? I don't know. I hope so. If you are, say something. Say hi. What else can I say? I don't know what I can say, but to say that I've said that I haven't said. Let's see. And, does this say? It doesn't say how many are watching. Oh, 2 watching. So probably me and Mike. Oh well, that's all right. But what can I say? I don't know. I guess how is everybody doing? What's got everybody got going for the weekend? I'd show some stuff off, but like I can't even. I don't have much to show off. I haven't heard from the guy that I'm trying to get thing. He sent me actually a picture of a Canadian shield, and I did say a little stuff back to him about it. I don't know whether he's read what I put or not. So, what shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor so early in the morning? Captain Valor. Now I got my hiccups of saying that. I don't know what I should do. What I should say. I'm stuck. I'm a lost for words. Oh, that's not new. I'm usually got a lot of dead air on my streams. Right, people? Oh, well, some of you would know, some of you wouldn't. Actually, something I might do. There are some amazing Spider-Man comics. I think there's 4 of them. There might be more than 4 that are strictly with the Spider-Man in Canada. They were done back in the early '90s. I think 1 or maybe 2 a year, like from 1990 to like '93. I might get a copy of those. Well, I've got a physical copy of a couple of them, but I don't have access to them. I might go to a site that's similar to what Mike's got here, and I might read them on my channel. I think it would be interesting to read those.
All right. So, anyways, now let's get back to the
Okay, I'll be right back in a couple minutes or less.
All
I
right.
want to grab a little something to sip or something to drink.
All right. Captain Valor. Captain Valor, hard-bitten adventurer, resigned his commission in the U.S. Marine Corps to seek adventure because the Marines are no longer fighting enough for him. Anytime you need help, Captain, don't be afraid to call out the Marine. Thanks, Colonel. I'll remember that. Captain Valor walks out of the Marine Corps, a free man once more. No more taking orders for me. I can do what I want now. An evil-looking Chinaman suddenly accosts Captain Valor. Well, what do you want? General Ho Shin is very anxious to see you. See you will you come with me? The Chinaman leads Captain Valor to an old house, the native quarter of the city. Come in, Captain Valor. I have heard so much of you. I awaited your coming with great impatience. Never mind the um, soft soap mixes. What's on your mind? The people in my village. The people in my village are okay. No, wait. The people in my village are starving. Will you command a rescue expedition to save them? General, there's nothing I'd like to do more than to help those poor people. Suddenly, the door is thrown open. Dogs! Dogs! Do you dare interrupt General Hossein when he is busy? This boy was listening to strange white boy refuses to answer. What were you doing? What are you doing here? Take the right pup downstairs and torture him until he talks. You can't do that. The boy is an American. Science dog. Mind your own business. Oh boy. One thing I always like is plenty of respect. In a moment, the room is a melee. Out through this door, Captain. A few blocks running brings them to the American section of town. We can stop now. They'll never attack us here. Captain Valor and the boy return to Valor's hotel room. All right, now let's hear the story. Ronnie tells Captain Valor his story. Ho-Sin is really a pirate. He is holding my sister for ransom. That caravan is not food, it's ammunition for Ho-Sin's pirates. That's very interesting. But what were you doing at the window? I wanted to follow the caravan and rescue my sister. The next day, the old Chinaman and his son are traveling in the direction of Mongolia. They're pretty good if they can see through this misty disguise. I wouldn't worry. I wouldn't worry about that running.
I think you missed a panel there.
Huh?
Yeah, I think you missed a panel. Right there.
That's all I wanted to know. Need a partner? Oh yeah, okay.
And that was supposed to come before the panel that you just read, but oh well.
I didn't see the arrows until afterwards, so.
Yeah, no problem.
But we've seen this before. They don't always do that great right.
Yeah, when you can't see the full page at first, it makes it hard to sometimes know which order to go in.
But now I know I should probably check before see if make sure there's any errors. The caravan approaches. Well, where were they? Well, here they come, Ronnie. Let's go into our act. Okay, pretty straightforward there. This humble personage begs to accompany the most illustrious and powerful Mandarin. Cowardly dogs, you may follow at the rear.
Oh, I like that Mandarin.
Yeah. Thus, Captain Valor joins the caravan. Well, we did it. This should take us directly to the place where. Well, we did it. This should take us directly to the place where your sister is hidden. After many days of tedious travel, the caravan at last reaches the pirate village. General Hossein desires to see you and the boy. I don't like the looks of this tape. Of this. Take this gun. Don't let anyone see you carrying it. The fellow travelers have the fellow travelers have arrived, O mighty one. Now that you are here, what do you intend doing? We should like to stay a few days to rest. Certainly you may stay. In fact, I do not see how you can leave us, Captain Valor. Do not move, Captain. I have you covered. Risking his life, Captain Valor desperately tries to fight his way out of the trap. But is overpowered after a bloody struggle. It is foolish to try and deceive Hossein. Take them away. Ah, visitors. I see. Oh, look at that. That must be his sister right there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sister. Ronnie.
Okay. He says sister. She says his name. Shouldn't shouldn't he say her name instead of sister? Or
Yeah, well,
she say brother?
The writer of the story just chose not to put her name out there. Because even when he identified her, It's like he identified. Well, my sister. He didn't say my sister. You know, whoever, but he just said my sister. So
Yeah, I get that when he's trying to let somebody know who's been captured in a sense. But
yeah, you're
now,
right. They could have given her a name, but I just don't. I think that was such a minute detail in their story. They just didn't bother with it.
oh yeah, I get that. I just like it's interesting how like he says sister like not so impersonal,
Uh
yet
huh.
he's going to rescue
Well,
her.
look at this next look at this next panel, Rick.
Yeah.
They name her now.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm not saying about not naming her, it's just that it's like you would have think he would have said instead of sister, it says Angie. You think he would have said Angie. Like she says
I guess
Ronnie.
I can't tell you because I don't know what the writers were thinking at that point.
Yeah. I get that. It's just, it's just
Angie, this is Captain Valor, who risked his life to rescue you. How can I ever thank you? This is no time for thank yous. We've got to get out of here.
yeah, maybe you think of after you get out of there
Right.
because he hasn't rescued you. I
Yeah.
guess you could say thank you for trying.
Yeah. Gee, I'm hungry. What time do we eat? Say, that's an idea. When does the guard come around? Oh, oh, he ought to be around any minute now. One of these chair legs will make a good club. This
Yeah.
revolver I had hidden will come in handy.
Yeah. Like she know what time exactly the guard comes around? Does she have a watch?
Well, I mean, if she's got a window, right, and it does look like okay, so there are bars there, so she can see outside. She could
Yeah, she
obviously tell by she could probably tell by the position of the sun or the light coming in. You know,
yeah, but that might that
if it's
those
like
bars might
springtime or if it's morning or if it's midday. She probably can have some semblance of what even if she doesn't have per se a watch or some kind of timepiece to tell her. She probably still got. They're probably still like
yeah, possibly, but that's assuming that those bars are going to an outside source of light and not just a hallway light. Those could be bars on the doors to look out into the hallway.
Captain Valor clubs the guard as he enters the enters with the food. The other guards rush in. Run for it! Breaking away from the pirate, they make for the horses outside the dungeon. In a saddle pocket, Captain Valor finds some hand grenades. Hold up a minute.
Well, that's convenient.
I like to make a clean job when I work, and he puts them to work. All right. This ought to smoke out the rest of Hosin's pirates. Captain Valor hurls a grenade in the midst of the pirates. Now ride for it! Now ride for it!
Shouldn't they've taken off first where you dealt with that and you just gotten up?
Captain, we're being followed. There must be 1,000,000 of them. For one moment, they lose sight of their pursuers. Then, down over a hill, the pirates thunder. Captain Valor's horse is shot from under him. Get down off your horse. You're too good a target up there.
Yeah, I think it's the two underneath.
Yeah, I know. I just saw the arrows too. It's no use, Captain. We're entirely surrounded. There are too many of them. We'll be killed. Oh wait. Oh, there are too many of them. We'll be killed like rats. Out of regard for the lives of his companions, Captain Valor surrenders. The pirates swarm down and tie them up. Captain, these are not the men you fought before. So I see, but who are they? In the town? What kind of capture is this? Who are these people? We were escaping from the camp of Hosin after destroying it when you attacked us. Dogs, untie our friends. These are the warriors who have defeated our enemy. Captain, we owe our lives to you. How can we ever repay you? But will this new Chinese chieftain remain friendly, or will he too demand ransom before he releases our friends? Don't fail to read Captain Valor in Zip Comics.
And you'll need to zip down to the comic shop to get them.
How did you like that one, Rick?
Interesting for sure.
Not interesting, or interesting.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, Miracle Man, Zambini the magician. Now for the narration, I'm gonna have you do Zambini because you do magician voices pretty good, like Yarko the Great. In this case, Zambini the magician. I'm gonna let you do Zambini here. All right, Rick. Zambini, the world's master of magic, has many miraculous powers, but the greatest is his ability to compel an evil force to return, like a boomerang, to the place where it started. Zambini's services are free, but he will serve only on the side of justice and mercy. The king of Britannia begged Zambini to help him with the war against Hundania.
It would come.
Hold on. Narration here.
Yeah.
In the private study of Zambini, Master of Magic. Now go.
It would come to what's
Britannia.
that? Britannia, Your Majesty, and talk things over.
Zambini's phone has been tapped, and the Hungarian spy chief hears Zambini's promise to the king of Britannia. Zambini must be killed tonight. The Hungarian spies plan to place a huge and deadly cobra whose bite means death in Zambini's bedroom. Just give me a sec here because I gotta figure all this out here.
Yeah, it looks just like back and forth till you get to the bottom panel.
Yeah, alright. Zambini has retired for the night. Spies arrive under Zambini's window. The cobra will kill him in a few minutes. Yeah, and this is much better. This is much safer for us. The cobra slithers in the moonlight toward the sleeping Zambini. The hooded cobra poises ready to strike. Zambini awakes. He mesmerizes the cobra with his stare.
A snake. I'll hypnotize him.
With a few deft passes of his hands, the miracle man enslaves the cobra.
Okay, I want to know how he got out from under the covers there without getting back.
And remember, he's a magician. He's a magician. Maybe just dematerialize and rematerialize, and again, just didn't see it happening on panel.
Yeah, it's just like. So, okay, why do you even need to hypnotize the snake then? Just make it disappear.
Yeah, I mean, again, probably something they didn't really
Think
too
through. Yeah, I know. It's so obvious of a thing that you can drive a Mack truck through. So I have to. I definitely have to point it out. Anyways,
But then I don't think the average reader was thinking as critically as you are, Rick.
Yeah.
Back in 1940. So,
I'll rub my boomerang amulet and find out who sent the snake.
Zambini rubs the boomerang amulet. The snake starts back to the headquarters of the spies. All right, so I do see an arrow there, so we at least now see the sequence here it's supposed to go. Here comes a cobra. He has killed Zambini. No, look, here comes Zambini too. Two spies try to kill Zambini, but he hypnotizes them. Compelled by Zambini's power, the cobra leads the two spies and Zambini to the den of the chief of the Hungarian spies. Miraculously, Zambini appears. The spy chief and his assistants try to shoot him, but with a gesture, Zambini causes the guns to leap from their hands. Cowering in fear, the spy chief gives Zambini the information. Go, Zambini.
Apocalo la poca.
No. Upper right, Rick.
Oh, I thought it was the bottom one.
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay. Quick, tell me, where are the Hungarian spy
Hungarian
spy headquarters in Britannia?
Yeah, Britannia. Speaking some magic words, Zambini turns the spy chief into a tiny dwarf.
Apokolo Lopaka. And now, my little friend, I think you'll be safer in my pocket.
Zambini is on his way to Britannia, but the spy chief of the Hundanians in Britannia sends 2 of his men to capture Zambini, as he wishes to use his magic powers for Hundania. There's Zambini over there. Careful. We gotta bring him back alive. But the tiny dwarf warns Zambini. You want to do the dwarf there?
Okay. Wake up, Master! Danger!
Kilpile hey Karpuli.
Krupik ni Sidirk.
Kripik ni Seeker.
Sidirk, but with his magic words, Zambini turns the two thugs into pigeons. Thugs into pigeons. You know what that kind of reminds me of? Did you ever watch Animaniacs?
Yeah, a little
Remember
bit.
Bobby Squint and the Pigeon Father?
I think so.
It was those pigeons that had like kind of a New York accent kind of thing.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, so are we going to have pigeon pie?
Zambini attaches a note to the leg of one of the pigeons. Pigeons fly back to their master. The Hundanian spy chief in Britannia receives a strange note. And I guess you should probably read that in Zambini's voice there, the letter there.
Here are. Is that our?
Yeah.
Here are your 2 spies turned into harmless pigeons. Why don't you try to bring happiness into the world instead of so much
Misery.
misery? If you don't stop, you'll be next. Zambini.
Furious that Zambini has escaped him again, the spy chief sends for his best spy, one who has never failed. Matadari, come here. Matadara. Seems kind of familiar, doesn't she?
Yeah.
More of a well-known, famous spy, right?
Yeah. Are you thinking the Baroness from G.I. Joe, Real American Zero? I mean, Hero.
Yeah. Don't fail me. Bring Zambini alive. I never fail. I never fail.
Oh, she's one in charge. I think they mixed those up.
They crisscrossed it because you look at the tails there. They're pointing at they're pointing at the other. It's like the top one's actually pointing at him.
Yeah,
it's curved, and the one at the lower one is pointing at her. They kind of crisscrossed it.
I think in that panel. I think they should have flipped the people, sort of more like it would be in this bottom panel on the left.
Be careful. He doesn't turn you. Be careful. He doesn't turn you into a little pigeon also. Zambini will eat out of my hand. Does Maradara know the one weakness of Zambini? Soon we shall see. Well, maybe because she's a woman, maybe she's figuring that will be his weakness.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll wait and see. The king of Britannia has sent 2 chamberlains to greet the miracle man. The 2 chamberlains advance to shake hands with Zambini, to shake hands, but Zambini never shakes hands. He merely bows. For Zambini has one weakness. At the touch of another person's hand, he loses his magic power. All right, so they tell us right there what his power is. But has she figured that has she been able to figure that out? I kind of wonder. In the hotel lobby, Maradara advances to greet Zambini. Is this the great Zambini? At the touch of Maradara's hand, the miracle man loses his power and becomes absolutely helpless. I want you to meet a friend of mine, Mr. Zambini. Maradara brings Zambini captive, but the spy chief is jealous because she holds Zambini's hand. I have brought the miracle man alive. Are you in love with him? Turn loose his hand. Afraid of the spy chief's displeasure, Mata turns loose Zambini's hand. Zambini's power returns.
Acapula locopola.
I think it's Apkol Lopka. Let's see. The spy chief and Mata Dara turn into tiny dwarfs. Zambini turns over the spies to the commander-in-chief of the Britannian army. Well, I'll be.
These are the Hungarian spies. Take good care of them. So it would seem that I'd like to know how she was able to get a hold of him, in the first place. How she found out. Obviously, we're not going to find out about either of those. But obviously, you have to stay in contact with him for his to lose his power.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
Yeah. That's not very good because staying in contact can be sometimes hard.
Mm-hmm. At last, the miracle man appears before the king.
So I beg you to help Britannia.
The top one is the king. The bottom one is Zambini. So I beg you to help Britannia.
I cannot take sides, Your Highness.
That very day, the Hungarian bombers dropped their deadly bombs on the houses where women and children live. With the magic of his boomerang amulet, Zambini saves the civilians. Zambini's room, boomerang magic, causes the bomb to turn around in midair and start back where they came from. Kind of like in a cartoon, huh?
Yeah. But it's explained. This is explained by magic, so
Right. Head for home. The bombs are coming back towards us. It's the end of the road. Gravity doesn't work anymore. The returning bombs blow the bomber planes to bits.
Okay, then I think it's the girl there. Because the caption's probably after they say stuff. Because this seems to be the last panel. It also says Zip Comics.
The last panel here. No, that's a guy. That's a king right there.
Oh, okay. The king, and then
for saving the women and children of Britannia, I dubbed thee Knight Zambini.
I do only what I thought was right.
All right, so we got through the stories that we were doing from Zip Comics. Let's see where we're at now.
An hour 52 in.
As I said, we're going to try to. I was slating this for possibly 3 hours, so we'll get through we'll definitely get through the other two stories. I mean, granted, I was slating this for 3 hours, but we still may end up getting done by 2.5. But I usually will slate 3 just in case.
Yeah, you introduced some new comics and new characters, but unfortunately, because it's not DC or Marvel, most of the time, if it's not DC or Marvel doing that, you're probably not going to have a whole lot on the characters.
Right. So now we'll get ready to go over to Pep Comics Volume 1, Issue 2, and read the Queen of Diamonds story next. How did you like that one, Rick?
Definitely good, interesting, a little different,
Some of the wording, too, is a little bit harder to pick up on, too.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, with me having the smaller screen than I'm used to, sometimes things aren't quite as big as they used to be for me.
Oh, on your end, you mean? The screen's small for you?
Okay. Yeah. It's not anybody's fault. That's why I'm having a little bit harder time reading than normal. Right. Even though I've got new glasses. And it seems like some of the lettering is smaller font than other ones has been.
I probably have it down in my normal font. I didn't because I wasn't having it. Like sometimes if I am having trouble, I will increase the font a bit.
Yeah,
I was having trouble. I didn't see.
Yeah, well, I'm not necessarily talking you. I'm talking like what they've put in as the font and all that. Mm-hmm. It's been in that one. It seemed a bit smaller than normal.
Of course, there's the shield, but we're not going to do the shield this time, anyways. Out. Now here's, I guess, some issues here where they have one. It's like they're alternating one bright colored copy and one darker color. One.
Well, I think it's how they've done the scan. Mm-hmm. It's almost like they took in a book and the way that they've placed it in the scanner has done it. I can see it because it's happened to me when doing scans before, for something like the size of a comic book or whatever, when you got to have one half of something out.
Right. The Rocket and the Queen of Diamonds. And I'll probably read, since we do have kind of the difference in shading here between panels, I'll just go ahead and read all the characters in this one. Make it a little easier.
Yeah.
The Rocket and the Queen of Diamonds. One day, a huge rocket ship crashed into the Diamond Empire, hidden for ages behind its impassable barriers. The stranger from the outside world at the controls of the ship mysteriously identified himself as the Rocket. Though his unusual strength and great valor, the Rocket won the okay. I'm gonna need to let me see if I can. This will help a little bit here. Through the unusual strength and great valor, the Rocket won the confidence of the Diamond Empire's beautiful queen. He became Sir Rocket, the captain of her guards. Arnie Retlick, Grand Counselor of the Diamond Empire, enviously sees Sir Rocket's growing friendship with the Queen and plans revenge. Look at him, fawning upon the Queen. Little does he know that we soon shall rule. In the subterranean workshop near the palace, Sir Rocket discovers slavers repairing his rocket ship. Fixing my ship, someone is planning to leave the Diamond Empire. Sir Rocket is discovered spying by the villain Retlick. Reach high, Sir Rocket. Put away your cat pistol, Retlick, before you hurt someone. I wouldn't injure the bold stranger. I have a better friend, Slade. A rocket makes a break before the slaves arrive. Your plan will have to wait. But as the rocket strikes Retlick, the slaves rush to their master's aid. Death to the rocket. Again, overwhelming forces. Sir Rocket fights for his life, but only to suffer the fate.
I can't get into my Pureflex account.
But only to suffer the fate of a cowardly blow from behind. Ugh!
Just send me a you sent me a
Yeah.
password.
The rocket bite, bites off the the rocket bites off the blacksmith only to find himself
I don't know.
secretly chained at the mercy of his enemy, Arnie Rex.
Yeah.
Why not set an
I
army
just got up for
on me,
something to
Retless?
drink.
Maybe you could knock me off for keeps. Quiet. I've no time to waste. Soon as your rocket is repaired, I'm leaving with the whole empire's wealth of diamonds. With the dope in his needle, I'm sorry. With the dope in this needle, I shall make your brain numb and helpless.
What's he
The
giving
drug,
you? Heroin?
maybe, I don't know. The drug, making Sir Rocket helpless, is injected into his bloodstream. Soon you will suffer the Queen's terrible wrath. Arnie Retlek leads the helplessly drugged Sir Rocket towards the Queen's chambers. When the Queen comes out, I will shove you toward her with this knife in your hand. Not knowing that Sir Rocket is drugged by the Queen, the Queen is highly alarmed. Help! Or, help! He's trying to kill me! Let us kill him at once, Your Majesty. No, death is too easy for such a knave. Retlek gloat over the success of his scheme. Now no one can interfere with my plans. Throw this man called the Rocket to the bottom dungeons. Still dazed, not knowing what is happening, the Rocket is led below. He will rot to death down here. In the Diamond Queen's chamber, I should have known he was a treacherous outsider. Yet he was so strong and handsome.
Yeah,
The drug where
and he's protected you and sworn to protect you. You know,
yeah.
all his
Oh, you
actions have
remember the
been.
previous story, Eric? Or I'm sorry, Rick?
Yeah. And hold on. You say something? No. Yeah, I remember the previous time, a couple months ago when I was on. You know, it was the first story with him and her.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
The
know,
drug wears off, and Rocket realizes that he has been framed. I've got to get out some way. If Retlick gets out of the Empire with the diamonds, there'll be there'll be a revolution. The Queen will be ruined. The drainage system had been put into the dungeons so that the palace would not be undermined by floods. This pipe will come in handy. I can flatten it out. I can use it as a crowbar. With the aid of his crude tool and his enormous strength, the rocket pries loose a huge block. The rocket tears at the wall like a madman. After many hours of tunneling, the rocket breaks through into the sewer. Red-eyed, red-eyed rats stare at it from the dark. From a hole to a water rat. But I'm getting there. The rocket is attacked by a fierce swarm of giant water bugs. Get out of my way, you ugly devils! When I get when I get some time, I'll come back and we can finish the argument. Overpowered, the huge bugs flee. Ah, a manhole. At last, out in the open once more. Turning in and out of dark doorways, the rocket makes his way toward Retlet's workshop. Chip and Retlet gone. Am I too late? That trail of oil leads to the blank wall. I wonder why. The mighty rocket pushes at the wall until it slowly opens. False wall. Just in time, they're getting ready to shoot out of this secret courtyard. Look! You make a good bowling ball. Let slaves rush to kill the rocket, but he grabs one and raises him over his head. Brings him into the faces of his companions. The rocket smashes his way to where Retlet is at the control. The palace is the safest place for me right now. And you a good punching bag. I'm after your boss, you slaves. Stay out of this. Retlet enters the queen's chamber. Your guards cannot save you now. You are going to leave the Diamond Empire as my slave.
Stop! Beast, I am your queen.
But the rocket is not far behind.
Let me go.
He will in a minute. And Retlet falls to his doom. Taking the diamonds isn't enough, huh? You want the queen too? That night, the guards parade in honor of their captain. It was a pleasure, my dazzling queen.
Now I know that the idea that now I know the real story. My captain, again, I again owe you my life.
Don't miss the next episode of The Rocket and the Queen of Diamonds in Pep Comics. How did you like that one, Rick?
Interesting. I'm not sure how rocketing it was, but could be a bit sparkly.
All right, so let me just. All right, so we're gonna get to the last, but let me just check the time here.
Hour 10, 2:10.
2 hours and 10. All right, so we'll do the last story. So I guess it will be closer to 2.5 than that we'll get done by. But still all right.
Yeah, depending on what's in the next story, it should be done.
Well, this last story is going to be the short. It's going to be 5 pages.
Yeah,
The
so it
West
should be
Point
done
story.
in 10 to 15 minutes.
Yep.
After you get to it, of course.
Uh-huh.
And then, of course, there's this day in Nietzsche history.
Let's see. The Wizard, the man with the super brain. One of the features here. Air Patrol, Western Front of Western Pro, Sky Raiders of the Western Front, Dick Strom of China. Of course, we're gonna the story we're gonna read, the feature we're gonna read is the West Pointer, which, as I said, was 5 pages.
Stacy Knight, MD.
Yeah, but I think that was a male.
I wonder how many of these are actually public domain, these characters. Now,
Hmm.
because I don't think Archie's used any of these, except for, of course, the superhero.
Well, I don't think he's used any of these action adventure ones in a while.
Well, like I said,
I think a
well-
lot of these ones might be actually public domain by now, because I don't think these ones been, Okay, there we go. The West Pointer. Keith Cornell, West Pointer, is recognized for his amazing ability, both physical and mental. On the gridiron, he has proven his worth and is a regular on the plebe team in the backfield. However, he always blocks while Captain Bob Seymour totes the ball and receives the plaudits of the crowd. Receives the plaudits of the crowd. The contest before the Navy game, Keith again paves the way for Seymour's touchdown, but his ability is unnoticed as the crowd swings Seymour on their shoulders. Army is triumphant again. In the locker room, Keith's teammates crowd around Seymour, who accepts their praises with false modesty. Thanks, fellas. Great game. That last run was a beauty, Bob. Nice playing. The following day, screaming headlines play up the tale of Army's victory, and Seymour's picture dominates the front page. Captain Seymour vainly clips more write-ups for a superbook or for a scrapbook.
Say, Cornell, why do you allow all the credit go to Seymour? He can't do a thing without you. I'm just doing my job, sir. Have to carry, I have to carry out orders, not give them. That upperclassman was right. If I missed a few blocks, Seymour. If I mi- if that upperclassman was right. If I missed a few blocks, Seymour would get stopped easily. But no, Army must win, regardless. Pretty selfless guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Keith, however, lays aside all thoughts of football, and during the remaining days before the Navy game, buckles down to his studies. Meanwhile, we um, find Seymour in his room. Golly, look at these write-ups. If Cornell keeps up the good work, I'll clinch the varsity berth. On the eve of the Navy game, Seymour calls calls the major general's daughter, um, Gerke Stevens. Hello, Gerke. How how's chances of my seeing you tonight? Is it a date? All right, all right, Bob. I'll be
What?
ready. All right, Bob. I'll be ready in half an hour.
I was just gonna say, what a name, Gurky. That's not a name that you hear nowadays,
Yeah, it's not.
or not too often. I don't think I've ever heard of anybody named Gurky.
Actually, I may have misread. I don't think it's I think it was Jerry, like Geraldine. Because here
Or
it looks more like Jerry right there. Hmm. Don't keep him out late, Jerry. Big game tomorrow. I won't, Dad. We're going down to the tea shop.
we're gonna tee a lot of people off.
At the tea shop, they find Keith. They approach his table when suddenly, hiya, Cornell. All set for tomorrow? T- uh, Take it easy, folks. This is Stick Up. Standing in the doorway with menacing guns are two ugly figures. Forgetting the danger to Jerry, Seymour snatches the sugar bowl and hurls it at the sun. Get them, Keith! Keith uh, pushes Jerry aside and brings the other men down with uh, with a bone bruising tackle. Woo! The gangster's bullet rips through the fleshy part of Seymour's arm. Ouch! I'm shot! Keith holds the pair at bay till the police arrive. Seymour's wounds go unnoticed, but still, nice work, lad. We've been after them. I'll get you for this punk. Punk. My Bob, you're wounded. It's only a, it's only a flesh wound, Jerry. But It's enough to keep me out of tomorrow's game. The coach must not find out. Cornell, this wound will stop me from carrying the ball tomorrow. It's up to you. But I don't know your plays. You will have to learn them tonight in my room. The stadium is jammed as the cadets march out the next day for the big game of the year. Army, Army, the big game of the year, the Army Navy game. I have to remember, college football was even bigger than pro football at this point in time.
Yeah. Well, this isn't even college. This is just Army versus Navy. This is.
Well, they're considered colleges though, because the Army Navy game, it's basically the Army. It's West Point and Annapolis. It's the Naval Academy and the Army Academy. So.
Well, I was saying, I thought they did a lot of different sports all throughout, not just like the Army itself versus the Navy, not necessarily.
Yeah, they do. They
but
actually, granted, that they're even to this day, I don't think they're part of any conference, any of the conferences. They're still an independent. But Army and Navy, their academies are in the NCAA. They do participate in many of the sports. They're just not part of any conferences. Air Force is part of the WAC, the Western Athletic Conference.
But I thought they did a lot of that stuff how shall we say it, non-professional. Like
college sports is non-professional, Rick.
Yeah. What I mean, not the college stuff or whatever, just a bunch of people in the Army and a bunch of people in the Navy. They make a team from those people that aren't in college.
No.
Just regular fighters, if you will.
When they do the Army Navy game, it's the battle between the academies, between basically in essence the Army and Navy colleges, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not from the entire Army or the entire Navy. The Army Navy game, it's based on the Army of West Point and Annapolis, the Naval Academy and the Army Academy.
Just the way that I've seen it in TV shows and movies and all that made it out like it could be.
No. When they talk about the Army Navy game, it's the battle of their two colleges.
Well, I'm just saying how it's appeared to me in watching it. I'm not saying that's not the way that it is. It's just I'm just saying the way that I've seen it. I've interpreted it, I guess, is the best way to put it. Sounds like I've interpreted it wrong.
If it's based on the full Army or the full Navy, then you misinterpreted it. Okay.
Yeah.
The Army Navy game is a battle. It happens usually during rivalry week when all across college football, all the local rivals usually will take each other on before but it's a battle of their colleges, the game between their colleges. Meanwhile, in the Army locker room, as the team prepares for the contest, the coach approaches Seymour. Let's see your arm, son. No sense hiding it. Sorry, Bob. I can't allow you to play in that condition. Seymour calls Keith a squealer. Keith tries to deny it, but don't deny it. You told Cornell, but the team believes Seymour and angrily they leave their locker room. Here we are, folks, for the big game of the year. The teams are linked up. There's the whistle.
The kickoff. Keith receives no cooperation from his team, and repeatedly he is held for no gain. Meanwhile, many Navy drives down the field for a touchdown before the first quarter ends.
What a bunch of doorknobs. They don't help them yet. They're only, hurting their own team.
Well, because they think they think he broke the code, right? Don't
Yeah,
squeal.
but at that point, it's still you're only making yourselves look bad, and you're not going to win. And so it's like,
Well, let's see what happens. To no avail, Keith tries to even up the score, but Navy will not be stopped. Navy scores again and again. Um, there goes another Navy score. It is 19-0 now. But where is Army's ace Seymour? Second half has begun, and Navy is kicking at Army's goal. Again, no. They're going to try for a field goal. Navy's kick is good. The score is 22-0. Jerry Stevens comes out of the stands to speak to Bob Seymour. I must speak to you, Bob. It's important. I told the coach about your arm, but I can see that the team is blaming Keith. Third quarter ends, and the team still ignores Keith, and Army covered without blocking. Any ball carrier is lost. All right, orders or not, I'm going in. Maybe arm can still maybe Army can still win. The boys play for Cornell. The boys play for Cornell. And Seymour tells what had happened. Army starts clicking. 3 times he scores. Um, the telling is 22-21 Navy favor. What now? 1 point to go and only a few minutes to play. He paid back on a fake center, whipped a long pass to right end for a 40-yard gain. What a game! Army came back with a rush, and what a player that Keith Cornell is. He scored every one of Army's points, but there is only time for one more play, and Army makes it a good one. It's off tackle. He's slamming his way through. He's over Cornell. He's over. Cornell scores again. Army triumphed 27-22. Unlike Seymour, Keith accepts the plaudits of the crowd with true modesty. That evening, as the plebes watched the upperclassmen parade Keith and Jerry stand hand in hand, Jerry has discovered um, that the athlete who scores the greatest number of touchdowns is not always the best man. What do you think that means, Rick?
interesting.
Another thrilling West Pointer adventure in the next issue of Hot Comics. Alrighty then. So there we go.
And that is
So
done
right
at
at 2.5 hours. So we got enough time to think we'll do this day in each history and then wrap up then.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so, anyways, 1923, 2003, and 1999. Okay. So today being Friday, December 15th, 2023, let's take a look back at this day in each history. History! So, anyways, first off, we're going to head back 100 years ago today.
Ooh, now that is, I think, the furthest you've ever went back.
Well,
That I can
that's the
recall.
furthest I ever go back. Is on this date, 100 years ago today, 1923, back in 1923, Felix Goes a Hunting premiered in movie theaters. There was a 4-minute animated short from Pat Sullivan cartoons. This is a Felix the Cat cartoon. A wife throws her husband out of the house, telling him not to return unless he brings her a fur coat. Deciding that the only way he'll get one is to make his own, he grabs his rifle and goes hunting. All his efforts fail, though, until he meets Felix, who offers to help him shoot rabbits and impresses the man with his marksmanship skills. However, it turns out that shooting the rabbits isn't quite as easy as they thought it would be. Yeah, and I think this was obviously well before sound cartoons, basically. This was probably more of a silent cartoon.
Yeah.
Let's see. Language none, yeah, because basically the first sound cartoon wasn't until 1928. So,
Yeah, 5 years after this.
yeah. So, anyways, moving on to the next piece in each history. Moving ahead to 1999. On this date,
Big jump.
yeah, on this date in 1999, 23 years ago today, the first issue of Archie's Weird Mysteries went on sale from Archie Comics. It was sold for $1.79. It was 32 pages. The story was Just Another Paranormal Day in Riverdale, written by Paul Castiglia, penciled by Bill Goliner, inked by Rich Kozlowski. Vicki Williams did the lettering, and then Rick Taylor did the coloring.
So would
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask. So would this have been based on the cartoon, or would the cartoon have been based on that?
If you look at the even though the cartoon came out years early, I think it came out in the mid '90s or something like that. But it proved to be so popular. That's probably why they did a comic version of it.
Okay, so you believe this is based on the cartoon?
Yeah. Well, look at the header there. Look at the title shot. That actually does kind of look a little bit like the title screen they've used for the cartoon as well.
Yeah. Well, I just wasn't sure whether the cartoon was based on this or this was based on the cartoon. I just wasn't sure which came first, if you will.
Well, this was from 2000 to 2004. So, cover date 2000, obviously. I believe the cartoon came before it. I can double check that real quick here.
Because a couple months ago I actually watched all of the Archie's Weird Mysteries on Tubi.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, no. It was they were the same time period. The cartoon premiered October 2nd, 1999. It basically ran for one season. It ran until February 2000.
So that they made this based on the cartoon probably then, because
because the cartoon came out in October and then the comic came out here in December. So
Yeah.
So yeah. So I thought though that the cartoon came out a little earlier than this. I didn't know it came out just in '99 because I'd seen some of that too. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I know they did that with like Spider-Man in the 90s and the X-Men in the 90s that they produced a comic book based on them and a few other cartoons that I've seen them do that with.
all right. So, anyways, finishing up this day in each history here. We move ahead to 2003. And on this date, 20 years ago today, WWE held its Monday Night Raw event from the St. Pete Times Forum in Tampa, Florida. This is, I believe, the night after Armageddon, the night following Armageddon. The main event saw Kane defeat Chris Jericho via DQ. Um, let's see. Rob Van Dam and Shawn Michaels defeated Batista, Ric Flair, and Triple H in a 3-on-2 handicap match. Booker T and Maven defeated Mark Henry and Matt Hardy with Theodore Long in their corner, and then Chris Jericho and Christian had challenged Lita and Trish Stratus to a Battle of the Sexes tag team match, and that ended up in a no contest. So there we go. All right. So with that, I thank everybody for being here. I hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight. Let's see. Rick, if you can stick around for a couple minutes just for post, I just want to double check with you on stuff we were talking about before the show.
Yeah, no problem.
With that, we went getting close to 2 hours and 40 minutes here. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I will see you all on Sunday. Bye.